Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Owlet Season 4. We've got a beautiful playoffs match coming at you tonight. It's going to be Rogue Dragons versus Paradise Tempest, and I am happy to announce our second ever edition of the Nest Point pre-show. I'm going to be joined tonight by Marks and Spooky, our casters for tonight's match. We're going to talk a little bit before the game about what we expect from this, talk a little bit about the games between these teams before the game that Rogue Dragons has already had in these playoffs, and what we predict is going to happen in this match tonight. So without further ado, welcome both of you to what I expect is going to be a very good game tonight. How you guys feeling?
Feeling good. This is going to be exciting. Rogue Dragons, the team that might not have walked all the way, but here they are in playoffs and right now doing a pretty damn good job of it as they're going up against the Titans known as Paradise Tempest. So I assume we're going to be in for some pretty good Overwatch tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I'm excited as well. I think Rogue Dragons even being here is a bit of a surprise to a lot of people. I think it was an upset that they beat Los Beefers, but they look really good. Actually, it didn't seem like a fluke or anything. They just outplayed Beefers, and I'm excited to see what they have for this Paradise Tempest match.
Yeah, I know we were all very excited to see a rematch between Beefers and Paradise Tempest in this match, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Rogue Dragons coming out really, really strong, even with the ringer they had on main tank, able to take down a team that had beat them in the regular season. So very happy for them, but let's talk about that game a little bit more in depth. Going to show off the match card between Los Beefers and Rogue Dragons. Unfortunately, I don't believe we have stats for this game yet, but we can just talk about, what we saw and what happened. So why don't you guys give us your thoughts on this match? I'm sure you watched. We'll start off with you, Spooky. What did you think about this match?
I actually casted this one alongside Miraculous. So I do have some thoughts. It looked like, like we said, Rogue Dragons did have a ringer in. And unfortunately, I'm just losing his name. But he actually, I think it was Adam. But he came in and it looked a little rough on some of the brawl comps, but when he was able to play Winston-based stuff with Karma on the Tracer, they looked really, really strong. They had scrimmed with him for the straight week, like every single night. So they only have even more time to practice with this ringer, who's still going to be in as Ravage still cannot play. So they have a whole nother week of practice, maybe a little bit more to get that synergy going. But this game was a lot of kind of Winston Tracer is where Rogue Dragons looked their best. And Los Beefers couldn't really keep up, especially Karma, who was popping off. And some credit to Solar as well. A lot of credit really on the Ana, just landing huge anti-nades that just opened the dive up a number of times. So I'm really excited to see if they'll bring out that same kind of composition. The Winston, the Tracer, the Ana, kind of that classic dive, potentially even some double bubble, because they looked really good on it.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Marks? What did you think?
I mean, if I'm just being completely honest with you, I thought Los Beefers to be were going to be moving forward, and I was really excited for that playoff game there. But like Spooky said, Rogue Dragons, they showed up, and I can be the first to admit that I was extremely surprised with how that whole thing went down. But Rogue Dragons, they won it out, and they deserved that win. So I don't know what to say. It's a little bit heartbreaking if you are a beef leafer. Wow, I even messed up the fun joke there. But it's, what else can you say? Rogue Dragons, they showed up and they delivered and they were able to beat the Beefers. And so they've earned their spot in trying to take on Paradise Tempest.
Very true, very true. And now let's talk a little bit about that Paradise Tempest match that already happened between Paradise Tempest and Rogue Dragons. Important to note, this match did take place with Ravage in the lineup. And obviously the first map did not count for this. But, I honestly thought the match was fairly even. I thought Paradise Tempest was just a little bit better than them. I didn't really feel like they smacked Rogue Dragons around at all. And I'm going to be curious now, especially with the main tank, that seems to have some different strengths than Ravage, if that's going to help them or hurt them going into this match versus Paradise Tempest. I don't know if you guys have your own thoughts on that. I'll open the floor now. If you guys have any thoughts about this last game.
Go ahead, Spooky.
Like I said before that the ringer looks a lot better on the Winston than potentially the Reinhardt. They looked a little off on the Brawlmere, but you're not really going into a Paradise Tempest game expecting a Rushmere, a Brawlmere. You're not really expecting like the Rhine v Rhine battle. It is really going to be dive all day long, I think. Maybe a little double shield, but mostly that dive. So it's really going to be interesting. You're not going to have, I don't think, any compositional differences in this match. It is going to be like who can play the better Winston, who can play the better Tracer between Karma and Sixus, and will Lars or Raph be able to get the better of each other on potentially that Ashe hit scan duel as well? So I really think we're going to see very similar compositions because these lineups have very similar strengths to me.
Yeah, and honestly, just to build off of what Spooky said there, speaking to Paradise Tempest, they've admitted that they don't enjoy playing Rush at all. That's why we see them bust out things, a double shield composition or anything like that. And so, once again, if Rogue Dragons with this ringer coming in here, changing up kind of their team play style, then this is going to be a new Rogue Dragons team that Paradise Tempest is going to be going up against. And I think that's going to be extremely interesting because, like you said, Misfit, it was pretty close. Still, Paradise Tempest did come out on top here, but at this point, like with the style that they play, it's Rogue Dragons are coming in different to this one. And so while it is kind of nice to look back and look at that nice 3-0 and be like, aha, yes, Paradise Tempest is going to be fantastic. It's really hard to say whether or not that is going to continue to be the case, especially to now that Rogue Dragons has kind of switched things up.
Yeah, no, and we can talk now about what we think is going to happen here in this match. I'm sure you guys have your own thoughts. I'll start out with mine because it is technically my I am the host, so I'll give my opinions first. Honestly, I think Paradise. Well, yeah, we talked to my producer about it. Yeah, but I think Paradise Tempest is going to be able to take this one. Obviously, Paradise Tempest has been the most consistently strong team in the league, and while Rogue Dragons has had their moments and has played pretty well, I can't help but feel like they haven't had the amount of time Paradise has to, really stabilize, really get good, or really understand the game as a team. And I think Paradise Tempest just has that over them. I don't think there's really any way Rogue can find an opening here. I will say this, I am rooting for Rogue. They are obviously the underdog in this entire bracket as it stands now. I believe every team remaining or out of every team remaining, Rogue Dragons is the weakest. And obviously, I like to cheer for the younger underdogs. I got friends on this team. I'd like them to do well. I think Paradise Tempest is just going to end up being a little bit too strong for them. I am expecting a close match. If I had to predict map score, I would say that it's probably going to be 3-1 in favor of Paradise Tempest. I think Rogue Dragons can take them down, especially on control. I think that is a map type that favors their strengths a lot better than Paradise Tempest. But if I just have to give this one from my perspective, I think Paradise Tempest takes it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't think anyone's going to argue that Paradise Tempest are not the favorites in this match. That it would be an upset if Rogue Dragons come out on top. But I don't think it's impossible. I think there's a lot of talent on this team. I'm really excited to see potentially Raph and Karma, the DPS duo, kind of come into their own. I think if they really pop off, I think both of these guys are very, very strong. Maybe the two DPS, like the only DPS line in the league where I think both are about at a similar, very high level without like one being a little bit better than the other. Like I think we normally see that in a lot of the teams on the league. These two guys are both just very, very strong on the DPS role. So I think maybe if they come together, they really pop off. They get to play on comfort picks. There is a chance. But like you said, I do think Paradise Tempest are the favorites.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that as well. Paradise Tempest, they're consistent. There's not much else to say about them. Whereas right now, while I'm saying Paradise Tempest, I do believe that they also will win this match. I would like to be pleasantly surprised by the Rogue Dragons.
Yes.
Once again, they're the underdogs here, and not to kind of just hop into your underdog bandwagon or anything like that. But at the same time, they have swapped things up, and the Beefers really gave Paradise Tempest a run for their money multiple times, and the Rogue Dragons, they came out on top of the Beefers. Now, you can't really say like one's better than another type thing, but I do think that now they really do stand a chance to take down Paradise Tempest. And well, they're going to have to bring their A game because this is the only chance that they're going to be able to do that and potentially go to the finals. But Paradise Tempest, they're highly rated for a reason, and I expect to see more of that stellar gameplay coming out in tonight's match.
Yeah, and I think that just about wraps it up here for our pre-show. Thank you both for joining me on this special edition of the Nest, now called Nest Point. But yes, I will see you guys back here for tomorrow's game. But for now, I'll throw it over to our wonderful casters, and they will get to kick us off for this game. Thank you all for coming out and watching this pre-show. My name is Misfit, and I'm out.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Owlet tournament. We are in playoffs. This is actually the semifinals, as we've got a lot of great Overwatch for you tonight because it's Paradise Tempest going up against Rogue Dragons. This is going to be casted by myself, Marks, alongside Spooky, and produced by Silent Marine. But, Spooky, what do we got going on between these two teams here?
Marcus, I'm super excited for this matchup. You know, we started Owlet with 11 teams. We are now only down to 4, and in a couple of hours, there will only be 3. One of these teams are going to go on to the grand finals, and one of them is out. They're done. Their season is over. And we do have Rogue Dragons versus Paradise Tempest. Rogue Dragons defeating Los Beefers DB in a 3-2 victory to actually get here. They're still playing with a ringer. I think it's worth noting. Ravage is still out for this game. He will be able to return for grand finals, but they do have to make it that far first. And first, they have to beat Paradise Tempest, who is pretty undisputed as one of these top 2 teams in the league, right? Like, it's TG and Paradise Tempest. They've been on top all season long, and it shows. They were the 2 teams that received buys into the semifinals. They didn't have to fight in the quarterfinals. And now, finally, we get to see one of them show off a little bit in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, even when we take a look at this compared to our last stage in this season, you know, during the last playoffs, it was pretty apparent that both Paradise Tempest and Team Growlithe were our top seeds. Like, no contest whatsoever. But now, this time around, it's a little bit more interesting. Rogue Dragons has defeated Los Beefers DB. Los Beefers DB have traditionally given Paradise Tempest a pretty difficult time whenever they faced off against each other. And Team Growlithe going up against Otter Oxide is going to determine our next finalist. But regardless, we are going to be going into our first map here to kick everything off, and it is going to be on Busan to start us out tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, and like you said, Paradise Tempest, TG, they've been at the top the whole time. They've actually both beaten their respective teams, being Rogue Dragons and Otter Oxide. They beat them already in the regular season. So I think it's very safe to say that Paradise Tempest are the favorites here, but they're in playoffs now, Marks. Season doesn't matter. They made it here. And now Absolutely. It is going to be this fight to see who gets to go into the grand finals. This is the only match that matters.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, hey, no matter where you've come from during the season, if you can't make it to the finals, then, well, it all just kind of goes to waste. And Paradise Tempest, they have been in this situation before, and you know that they're going to be feeling comfortable coming into this. Meanwhile, Rogue Dragons, with that ringer, might be out of their element just a bit, but regardless, they've been showing us an excellent showing these last playoff games. So, both teams, a lot at stake here. Let's see if Rogue Dragons can upset Paradise Tempest as the doors are going to be opening, and we're going to be starting off our first map.
And we're starting off with both Winston comps, but fundamentally different. You know, we have the 6-man comp on the side of Rogue Dragons, and then Paradise Tempest are breaking out with this more double bubble comp. So we're gonna see if Lars and Sixes can plunk enough damage in before the engagement here to actually let Paradise Tempest win the fight, or if Rogue Dragons are just gonna run them over.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that Sixes is using this Torbjorn. The turret, very good to just kind of lay down a little bit of pressure. As Wops is going to find Azukari first. Already, Rogue Dragons are feeling a little bit better. With their main tank down, it's going to be on the back of the DPS lineup from Paradise Tempest that are going to be trying to keep this whole point alive. We see Lars and now Irape getting the Bionade onto T3 Alex is going to help them make things happen as Culture just burns people down. That Torb turret coming in clutch as Paradise Tempest, they're going to be claiming this first objective first.
Yeah, a good decision by them because the Rogue Dragons comp really wanted to attack them on that high ground, but they couldn't quite get there. Not all their members have that vertical mobility that the Winston might have. So they were happy to just sit back, let Sixes and Lars plunk in the damage, get some picks, and then finally push in Culture. Going up to that 100% charge on the Zarya is so dangerous. And we're going to see some swaps to the Tracer and the Sombra. But they're up against a McCree Torb. I'm not sure it's going to be hard to get value, for sure.
Absolutely, you know, you just get a little bit of a stun grenade in the face and that completely slows you down, but now we're going to be seeing the Deadeye come out from Lars. Let's see if he gets any value. He finds Karma, and Culture burns down Persona now. Paradise Tempest in an excellent position to continue to hold this point as we see them just continue to pressure back the Rogue Dragons, kind of moving in a little bit of a pincer, and that's going to be the team fight. Paradise Tempest looking incredibly strong here.
Yeah, and Mark's Torb is memed a lot as a pick. It's not always
really
the best. I think some of that comes from his later days when he was in a much different state than he is in now. But honestly, the turret on this map specifically is fantastic. The sightlines are so long. You saw how much Rogue Dragons had to rotate around just to defeat the turret. You know, they went all the way around the side just to get out of the way. But now they're going to be pushing into it again. Not doing the rotate this time. They have a Coalescence, but they almost have this EMP. They're up against Culture's Grasp.
And let's not forget about this Molten Core that was tossed on the ground. We're going to be seeing a lot of ultimates come online as the Nano Boost gets committed into Culture. Womp's going to get back into his mech suit to try and rejoin into the battle as Azukari is going to be flying around this top line. He's going to be trying to stall this out for just as long as he can, let his DPS do their thing as they just plunk in damage. He finally gets taken down, and the point is going to be flipping over despite the fact that Culture was still there. Culture probably just stepped off just for a second, which allowed Rogue Dragons to get that cap.
Yeah, and you use a bunch of ultimates on Paradise Tempest side. You use everything to try and hold that, and you don't manage to. For Rogue Dragons, Raph gets to hold on to this EMP. That's going to be a great tool to hold on to this point. You know, build up some of those support ults again. They're already halfway there, and it should win them this fight.
EMP with Karma with the Karma! That's got to be Karma right in your face if you ask me, but Rogue Dragons are going to be walking away with that one, feeling all the more mightier for it. Just a couple of ultimates committed, and a huge pulse bomb just seals the nail in the coffin on Paradise Tempest.
Yeah, perfect. And then you're almost up to another Coalescence, and you have Alex with the Primal Rage to stall out a little bit. No ultimate charge gained for Paradise Tempest from that fight. A great stalling fight for Rogue Dragons, but TDR Alex is down.
Yeah, not a great start off if you want to come into this. Lars using his Deadeye, able to pick Parma as well. Now we're going to be seeing the Coalescence come online and use, trying to keep everybody alive, but that's just too much pressure coming out from Paradise Tempest as they are able to capture the point. Now, TDR Alex, he's using the Primal Rage, having a little bit of difficulty parkouring up on those little ledges there, but he's going to have to back off as he does get antied. But now we're in overtime. Right now, the Rogue Dragons, they have to reclaim this point, and it's going to be extremely difficult as Azukari also has his Primal Rage and is just bullying Alex all over the place. Right now, Paradise Tempest feeling incredibly strong. Dropping the Amplification Matrix too is going to add just that much more pressure onto Rogue Dragons. Can they do anything to turn this around? This is when they need to make it happen. But with the Molten Core coming online as well, this is going to look all but lost for them as Paradise Tempest secure point number 1.
Yeah, and it's great play from Paradise Tempest. You know, this did really seem like a composition that was set up to break down the 6-man battering style, you know, the Winston with the Lucio Moira comp. Like, the Torb turret and the McCree just on that little ledge of high ground, well, it was perfect. They could just put in the damage, and it was really on Rogue Dragons to come up and try and come up with a counter. They brought out the Tracer Sombra, which managed to take them a fight, but it wasn't enough. They lost so much percentage. Now we're moving on to downtown, and I'm excited to see what will come out of this. It's still primarily, generally a Winston map, a lot of high ground, so we'll see what the teams exactly want to roll out on. We are going to see the Ball Winston for the side of Paradise Tempest, and a similar composition on the side of Rogue Dragons as they ran before, but it does have the Brig, which is going to give Culture and Azukari a very hard time on the dot.
Probably a great swap here. Now we get to watch these teams trade a little bit of blows as Azukari is the first one to get hacked. Thankfully, the team is there to support him right now as TDR Alex jumps up onto this high ground. 6 is falling extremely low, and it's taken out by Womps. This is going to be the opening that they need as Persona uses his little bit of a flail and takes Lars down. Now, Rogue Dragons are going to be looking like they're going to be better for this team fight. Paradise Tempest might have capped the point, but they might have just lost the team fight, as this is just going to be the Rogue Dragons continuing to sweep up and reclaim it around, only giving up 10% to Paradise Tempest here.
Yeah, it's much harder to find a dive target, and I think Paradise Tempest are realizing this. They're switching up their composition to go for more of a brawl-based. I would expect potentially a Lucio, but it doesn't look like it. They're going to run the Reinhardt with a Brig Moira, potentially just giving credit to Karma and Raph on those DPS, those flanking DPS, to try and keep Rig and Lars, keeping them in check, so to say. They're going to wrap around and try and get to the point, but Raph almost has the EMP mark, and that can ruin the day of a comp that wants to stay close together.
Uh-oh, and speaking of ruining comps, you're going to be seeing a lot of just utility just tossed into there as Paradise Tempest kind of trickle in through that little choke, and it's just disastrous for them as they just get completely run over by the Rogue Dragons.
Yeah, beautiful engagement. You don't use the EMP. You don't use anything, Marks.
There was a pulse bomb. There was a pulse
bomb. To just take it away. A pulse bomb, sure, but Karma's 40% to another one. Just so much damage coming in, followed up by that anti-nade from Solar, and now everyone from Paradise Tempest, you know, they're back in spawn. 50% for Rogue Dragons, and they have everything to work with here, Marks.
A lot of ultimates on the board here as we see we're going to start off with a Winston and the EMP comes out.
Karma?
They're just absolutely shutting everybody down. I think that was a 6-man EMP coming through there, and now it's just all TDR Alex as he just zaps all of that Paradise Tempest team down.
Yeah, Six is kind of getting the random kill on the Karma. Might have made Rogue Dragons panic just a little bit, using a lot of ults for that, including the Nano and the Rally. So this is an opportunity for Paradise Tempest to come in, but they have to move fast, Marcus. They're running out of time. They really only have the High Noon and the Rally to work with if they get them online, and it has to work. Lars, big pick.
Ooh, okay, the Rally is going to become online, which is going to allow for that much more sustain here, as Paradise Tempest are going to be moving forward, but they've already lost Azukari. We see Lars try to use the Deadeye here, but now he's being dived on by a giant Winston in his backline. The Self-Destruct does come out online, but Paradise Tempest have now made their way onto the point. Right now, even though that they might be in a little bit of a tough situation, they're making this work, but with the Self-Destruct coming in and taking out TDR Alex. Oh, okay, hold on. They were able to flip it just for a second here. Now, it's just all going to be about the stall game for them. They want to make sure that they can take as much time as possible, build up that percentage to maybe turn this around, but now we've got a Nano Brig on the field, and you hate to see that when you run into it, especially too when she props the Rally as well. It's just absolutely punishing as Rogue Dragons have now tied up our series.
Yeah, the flip almost gave them a chance, Paradise Tempest, but it wasn't enough. Rogue Dragons are able to come back into that with a quick triple kill. That's followed up with the Rally and the Nano. Great play from Rogue Dragons when I really thought they had lost that one. Paradise Tempest were able to get the flip, but it looked like Rogue Dragons were able to isolate a couple members, take them out, then just push their way forward. And suddenly we're at 1-1 on control, and we're going to Mecha Base. Very often a rush-style map. A style that we don't really see Paradise Tempest play too much, and it's kind of more in Rogue Dragon's forte. So potentially, this could be a really good map pick for Rogue Dragons to come out on some of these comfort picks.
Now, let's see how this goes. We are going to be seeing Culture on the Wrecking Ball and Azukari on the Orisa. Orisa not too different from the Paradise Tempest composition, but you can tell that they are going to be taking this little bit of a poke-style attack here as Karma takes out Lars first.
Yeah, that's a bad first pick if you're Paradise Tempest, losing a lot of your long-range damage, and that really just gives Rogue Dragons a chance to push in on the Orisa here. They're rotating around, but they're going to have to touch the point in just a couple of seconds here, and the Reinhardt very much has the advantage there.
All right, Culture's looking for something to happen. They might just be scouting out, waiting for them to come through, and now he tries to go for, catch them mid-air, but he's going to be running into the middle of the team. A little bit of a scary thing to run into. But even though he goes down, though, it looks like Paradise Tempest use that distraction to their advantage as they find so many more picks. Now, Azukari, set up on the point, drop the shield down. Six is still keeping his distance right now. Is going to be trying to beam down this mid, but it might have just overextended just a bit. He's able to back off as Rig comes through, taking out that Baby Diva. Now all they have to do is take out Persona, run in through the air, and Paradise Tempest should be able to flip this point around.
Yeah, Rogue Dragons had an opportunity when Lars went down, but they weren't quite able to capitalize on it. Paradise Tempest were ready with the rotations, and even the Lucio speed couldn't get Rogue Dragons in the position they wanted to actually take advantage of the 5v6. Then when everyone was killing Culture, the poke damage from the shield comp just came in and eliminated the backline. And once again, we see Solar falling early. You cannot lose your Baptiste so quickly. That's just free percentage for Paradise Tempest. And it's free ult percentage as well as they're building up to some of these crucial ones like that duplicate. Karma's Blizzard has to be big here.
It has to be huge, but I'm very excited to see Azukari use his supercharger here because, especially with these poke compositions, it's absolutely deadly. But we're going to be starting off here as the Amplification Matrix does come online. Now we are going to be seeing our lovely supercharger right now, but there's just so much damage coming in. Six is going to opt to use the duplicate onto the Diva, a pretty classic duplicate as he pushes Solar off the edge. Unfortunately gets demeched, and now we're going to be seeing the Blizzard come in and onto the point. There's a lot of mines, though, in between Karma and the Wrecking Ball, but with Lars on that high ground, not much you can do.
Yeah, and it's just another win from the poke composition. It's a compositional difference that the Reinhardt couldn't really close the gap like they'd want to, and we see that reflected in Alex's swap to the Winston here. Just trying to get on top of this Orisa and Ashe and Zen, just to finally do some damage instead of just running around swinging your hammer. 70% for Paradise Temp.
As soon as they step out, there's just so much, like, things flying in your face. That's the pure example of why these, the poke compositions work, and especially, too, if they are able to take out Solar and TDR Alex, then Paradise Tempest are in an optimal position to close out this fight and just hold on to the point.
Yeah, really only one more try for Rogue Dragons. And it's going to be tough. We already see Solar switching over to the Lucio, just trying to get back and touch. But how are you going to win? You touch the point, there's nobody from Paradise Tempest on the point, Marks. They're chilling on the high ground. How do you keep someone on point and win this fight?
Well, you start out by getting a couple of picks on the Paradise Tempest DPS line, and now it looks like Rogue Dragons are going to be able to take this one back. We see Culture spinning around trying to keep this as long as they can, but unfortunately with Culture falling down as well, Rogue Dragons are finally going to be able to swap this point over, but they can't afford to lose not a single team fight.
Yeah, it's the DPS line that really comes up big there. They're the ones able to actually put in enough damage to get some of these picks. But still, you're on Brig Lucio backline. There's not a lot of healing. This composition has to go incredibly fast, Marks, and it's going straight into Rigmadon's Transcendence. So if you try and follow up on some of those picks in a bad situation, the Trance is going to leave you out of position.
Yeah, never mind the fact that Culture's also got his mines on point, which now was just going to make it a little bit difficult for the Rogue Dragons, but a good zoning Deadeye used by Raph just to kind of eliminate things as he goes back to aim labs, you know, just trying to click some of those dots there. But now they are going to be pressuring down Culture as we hear the Transcendence come online, but it is TDR Alex popping the Primal Rage, trying to juggle off Lars from the cliff, but unfortunately is unable to do so. Lars just barely staying alive. Karma is able to find the pick though, and now the rally is going to be committed as the pulse bomb gets thrown out. It doesn't find anything. Now Karma in a very precarious spot as he's surrounded by all of Paradise Tempest, but it actually is the Torbjorn on the back line, which is going to be able to find the back cap. It looks like Rogue Dragons were too distracted that they didn't even know that was happening on the point right now, and now they're getting taken down left and right, especially too with the Torb Turret. That's just so much sustain. Now we have TDR Alex just get absolutely demolished. Solar on this point trying to stall it out, but is going to fall as well. And as that overtime clicker ticks down, that's going to be Paradise Tempest winning out map number 1.
Yeah, big plays from Rigmadon on the Zens. Actually, a couple of picks to open it up. You know, Alex getting that early pick on Lars you might have some Rogue Dragon fans thinking that they'd be able to get away with this one, but with how much percentage Paradise Tempest got off of that poke composition, they really only need one good fight, and they got it still. Karma's been having a game. This is already pretty close, and the DPS line for Rogue Dragons especially have been turning up.
Absolutely. You can never discount Karma and Raph. They have been doing amazing work all throughout Owlet. And once again, they're bringing their A game to this battle here. But I'm so interested. Why did you think that the Paradise Tempest composition worked? That they were able to stay that spread out when, in theory, Rogue Dragons, you know, their whole team likes to play together and just run over those individual units. How did this whole thing work?
The poke composition was really about just like you said. You knew Rogue Dragons would come up on that rush comp because everyone comes up on the rush comp on Busan Mecha Base. It's the standard. There are good choke points for it. So it was really a Paradise Tempest decision to come up, set up in a pretty much as far away as you can get from that initial entry point, and just put the shield down and hope that you get enough poke damage in. It's so hard to rotate around to the spot where they were set up And then you had Culture on the ball. I think Culture's main hero is the ball. He's been playing the off tank a lot for this team, but this guy, I believe, is a main tank player. He prefers the ball a lot of the time, so he's able to just kind of touch the point here and there, while the Orisa, the Zen, the Ashe just lay down damage from the top rope, right? So it's really a big poke composition in that Brian's shield only has so much health. And when you have to get that far, even Lucio's speed isn't going to help you before you lose a lot of that.
Yeah, and you can tell, well, Paradise Tempest, they're really good at dismantling rush compositions. We've seen them do it time and time again. But I just want to remind everybody, on that third, map there, it almost looked like they were playing Ring Around the Rosie, except Paradise Tempest was always kind of coming out on top, because even if they were running away, they could kind of turn around and be like, oh, we're just going to tickle you a little bit, and then continue to run away because you need to be up in our face to do damage. So, the poke, it was a successful way of kind of dealing with it. And also too, I really liked seeing Culture almost play distraction for the team, because you could tell that as soon as Culture kind of rolled in or slammed onto the ground, Rogue Dragons were like, oh, a giant wrecking ball. And then they all turned around, which just allowed Lars and Azukari to just pump in so much damage into them, even from afar, because, suddenly they were all turned around and looking the other way.
Yeah, for sure. Culture's behind you. You've got Sixus on the flank on the Echo and the Sky, and then you're trying to walk forward into this bunker. Like, it really is that triple threat kind of composition where it's just everything coming from all sides. You really have to find an opportunity or make one and just go. You can't have any hesitation. You can't be like, we're going for the Orisa, but now the ball's in our back line, and we have to turn around. Just go for the Orisa. Just keep going. You have to choose a target and demolish them. And we did see Rogue Dragons struggle a bit with that. And it's hard, like, to get 6 people on the same page when you're taking damage from every direction. If you're not prepared for it, it's definitely hard to come up with something on the fly. And credit for Rogue Dragons for even breaking that composition a little bit at the end there. But it is going to be 1-0 in favor of Paradise Tempest. And it looks like Rogue Dragons have chosen Watchpoint Gibraltar as the next set. So I think we are going to see less Reinhardt, not that we saw much of him in the first place, but a lot more of those dive compositions, the Winston, the ball. I'm excited. That really seems to be both of these teams' forte.
Well, you say dive compositions, but at the same time, we've seen Paradise Tempest bust out double shields on this map plenty of times, and they look like they're always the experts on double shields. So maybe that's also an option as well for Paradise Tempest. And they make it work even against some, like, obviously how they play double shields. It's been shown to be very effective against rush, but it is pretty effective against this dive composition, especially with the way that they play it. Case in point, what we've just seen in this last map there. So let's see what these teams want to be playing. Although I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit different. We also talked about how Rogue Dragons had swapped in. They've got a ringer for their tank who prefers kind of that more dive style. So maybe this dive will be a little bit more effective this time around in dismantling the Paradise Tempest juggernaut here.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, if they come up on a similar style, that kind of ball Orisa, half bunker, half flank poke comp. Potentially the dive could be a lot stronger without that Sigma in there to put the extra damage in the bunker. So it's definitely a lot of potential there for Rogue Dragons. If Paradise Tempest break out a similar composition, this Winston-based dive, keep Karma on the Tracer. He seems so good at it. He's always been like he's. I hesitate to call him a Tracer one trick because he also has a lot of other heroes he's good at, but his Tracer is significant. It really seems to be his best hero, and he's very comfortable on it. So keeping the Winston Tracer just seems really good for the Rogue Dragons. It seems like what they're comfortable with, and potentially, that could beat these bunker compositions if Paradise Tempest wants to continue rolling out on them. But still, Azukari is a good monkey, Marks.
He is a great monkey.
He's a very good monkey. So I'm definitely excited to see. I think a dive duel is really what these two teams are at their best at, and that is what I'm excited to see.
Yeah, once again, could be really interesting, especially if Culture does like playing that ball. Maybe we'll see a ball Winston pick. Everyone's just like, I want to pick comfort picks, and we'll see how that goes as well, I guess.
It's a composition for sure.
The confidence in your voice there really tells me Tails.
No, there are two heroes you can pick. I know. I know there is some Winston Ball enthusiasts, but
You consider yourself one of them, Spooky?
I would not. You know, when your whole composition can get pretty heavily shut down by a McCree and a Brig, two still strong heroes, I think it is a little bit harder to run. There are times and places for it, but I'm not sure it's really something you want to run most of the time or some of the time. There's a time and a place.
Yes.
And it's it's not very common. In my humble opinion.
That was probably the nicest way for you to say it sucks. But yes, you are correct.
It's interesting.
Okay, well, that says volumes in itself. But we are going to be starting out with Rogue Dragons starting us out on defense here, as Paradise Tempest are going to be the first ones attacking. And what can you tell me about Rogue Dragons' starting composition here, Spooky?
It does seem like they're going more for that classic dive, the Winston Diva with the Tracer. So you are going to have Solar being the main source of healing for this dive composition, while Persona kind of bodyguards Raph and Solar in the backline. But Paradise Tempest, they're not really going for the dive that the Brig would be so effective against. They are going for more of a bunker comp, with the Diva this time, instead of the Ball, a little bit more defensive. Very defensive, actually, with a Torb, a McCree, and a Ball. They want Rogue Dragons to come down to this point because they will demolish them.
You know, they say that the best offense is a really good defense. Or something along those lines, but let's see if Paradise Tempest can make this work. Six is starting out with the pick onto Karma is a great way to open things up, as once again, we're just watching Paradise Tempest kind of just roll this thing through. Like you said, right now, Rogue Dragons has to come to them, and that's exactly what they want. We're going to be seeing a little bit of a brawl here, but immediately, Alex has to back off. He's just taking so much damage. Womp's now just trying to stall things out here. But the entire team of Paradise Tempest are here as Sixes just goes in on Womps, able to pressure him back as they're going to be just continuing to make cart progress right now. There hasn't even really been a full team fight here, but look at how far Paradise Tempest has been able to take this thing. Now they are very much just in charge right now as TDL arcs. He's going to be getting that nano boost and a great anti-nade coming in, just really shutting down all of the healings from Paradise Tempest. And now this is going to be the Rogue Dragons turning it around on them as they sweep up the rest of their members, just stopping it right before point number 1.
Yeah, I actually really like that from Rogue Dragons. Just kind of surround and don't really commit until you see an opportunity, and that opportunity was Solar's Nano. They just built it up. They took a little bit of the poke damage, but they didn't really commit. They didn't give an opportunity for Paradise Tempest to dive on, and then Solar opening that up with an anti-nade and the nano boost won that fight for them. But still, almost all ultimates now online, but only 2 minutes on the clock. The Rogue Dragons are able to run away with this one. This next fight, Paradise Tempest could be in trouble. And it's another big anti-nade!
Oh my goodness, that anti-nade just completely turned this around. Six is committing the Molten Core onto the point, but unfortunately it just lost all of its value just because of that huge anti-nade. Now, they are going to be bunkering up once again as Persona uses the rally point. Potentially thought that, Paradise Tempest was going to take this engagement, but they are going to be opting to just play this a little bit more defensively, hiding behind their lovely Orisa shields and their Torbjorn turrets as they regroup and get ready to engage once again.
Yeah, and now Rig is almost up to a rally of zone. Still a lot of ultimates, and it's going to be the Supercharger coming out.
Oh, no.
Bomb goes over the top and does a bunch of damage, including killing Sixes here.
Now Rig popping the rally here, trying to keep everybody alive. Lars is going to be able to find a Raph with that Deadeye. Lars coming alive a little bit, trying to turn this around for Paradise Tempest, continue to make this possible. Especially off the back of a rally, it is definitely possible, but that Nano Winston is going to make it just that much harder. Now an Amplification Matrix has been dropped down, which is actually going to be extremely useful for the angle that Lars was looking through. That's just so much damage that he's just able to pump into the Rogue Dragons, and now Paradise Tempest are stabilizing. We're going to be seeing Bob run into this point, trying to stall this out just for a little bit longer as Raph uses the dynamite as well. Raph trying to do everything that they can, but unfortunately are going to have to back off because Paradise Tempest should be able to get now point number 1.
Yeah, it does look like there's going to be a recontest. Karma touches the point, and TDR Alex is coming in with the Primal Rage. They want to fight this one.
They are fighting it, but now we're going to be seeing a lot of ultimates come online for Paradise Tempest, and there's just too much pressure as they finally make it over. Now just cleaning up Solar. They're going to be walking this one forwards.
But still, it's a fantastic hold, and makes me have a couple of doubts about this Paradise Tempest composition. They didn't really seem to be able to handle the way Rogue Dragons was playing, just leaping in and out, doing a little bit of poke damage here, building up your support ults, building up the pulse bomb, and then going in. And now there's even more high ground in this point B mark for Rogue Dragons to take advantage of.
And we can already see them. They're putting on so much pressure here, but I wanted to quickly highlight Solar, who's just been absolutely huge with those anti-nades, really shutting down Paradise Tempest.
Yeah, she's been nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Now, we're going to be seeing them flop in here, tries to go for a sleep, doesn't find too much here. That's going to be Alex falling extremely low as the self-destruct is committed on point by Culture. Now Culture kind of looking for a cheeky reback kill, almost gets taken out beforehand, but we're going to be seeing Rig now pop the rally. This sustain is going to be huge, especially too as they just are going to be walking things forward. For good measure, we're going to see Azukari commit the supercharger, as this should be now point number 2 for Paradise Tempest.
Yeah, they roll straight through. Rogue Dragons aren't quite able to get that same fight they were able to get on that point A that allowed them to hold so much. I think it's, in a comp like this especially, positioning is incredibly important. And you're not able to get that if you're not able to win that initial fight, which is really the reason that Rogue Dragons, they weren't even able to touch the point the whole time. And now we're going to see a rush comp coming out, or at least a Reinhardt-based comp, coming out from Paradise Tempest. Sixus is down once again to the bomb, and it's a good opening for Paradise Tempest to come forward.
Yeah, or Rogue Dragons. Yeah, Rogue Dragons are able to shut them back just for a bit. Just make sure to cut down that momentum. We do see Azukari swapping onto this Reinhardt now. So, you know, Paradise Tempest want to play this nice and close.
Yeah, they're just trying to push their way forward. They don't think the Orisa is quite enough, but a lot of ultimates let Rogue Dragons just push their way in.
Yeah, and it's TDR Alex right now, receiving the nano, able to put in so much work and kind of shut down some of those ultimates coming online for Paradise Tempest. We hear the high noon pop, likely just a zoning one from Lars, as Sixus also has a Molten Core online, especially too with Bob committed. This is a perfect time to use it, as now you can just burn Bob down. Now this is absolute brawl on the point. We're seeing the Divas get kills here, as TDR Alex has also popped his Primal as well, trying to push people around and dislocate them from this rush composition. And now we're seeing the engagement so aggressive from Rogue Dragons in trying to push them back. You want to keep Paradise Tempest as far away from you as possible, and sticking Lars and Ira is a great way to just make sure that it's going to be a full reset for Paradise Tempest.
Yeah, and Marcus, we both called this a rush composition at some point, Azukari on the Rhine, but it wasn't really because there's no Lucio on the side of Paradise Tempest. And now Azukari, he couldn't get anything done on the Reinhardt. He couldn't close the distance. He's going to switch back over to this Orisa and kind of hope for the best. It seems like just keep using this bunker comp that's helped them so much, but it really hasn't been a good attacking tool for them, as we saw in point A. Let's see if they can make it work here. Another big anti.
Big anti and another nano boost. Solar's been charging these up like no tomorrow, but it's going to be a wrap coming alive, being able to take out Sixes there. Dynamites just cause so much damage. As Rig is able to take out Alex, this could be an opportunity as Rig also finds Karma. Two really big chess pieces have been removed from their side of the board. Now we see the pressure from Paradise Tempest just start to roll things forward as an amplification matrix is also dropped down, but that's Womps with another self-destruct, taking out all of the supports from Paradise Tempest. Let's not forget that Rogue Dragons also have the respawners advantage, making it all that more punishing. Now, there's only 30 seconds left on the clock. Paradise Tempest are going to have one final push onto this to make this point happen.
Womps has had incredible bombs, and you were so happy to win that fight with just that one ultimate. Everything else coming online for Rogue Dragons, and no support ultimates to keep Paradise Tempest alive. Sixus and Lars have to come up big with their DPS ultimates, but they're facing down so much marks. I'm not sure if they can do it.
Nano, you've got to be kidding me! There have been so many Nano boosts used this entire game. Now we see Sixus trying to touch the cart, but he falls down. Lars popping the Deadeye right now, trying to zone back people. He is going to plink down Alex by quite a bit, but it doesn't matter because Alex is jumping onto Ira and takes Ira out of the picture. Now Womps is here with Karma and the rest of the Rogue Dragons as they just absolutely overwhelm Paradise Tempest, preventing them from making it all the way to the end of this map.
Yeah, and I think it really was that these two compositions are based on who is in control of the point. We saw it time and time again. You know, to start out with, Paradise Tempest were able to set up Azukari on point, just roll forward, use the shield until Solar was able to nano Alex and dislodge them. Then they took 3-4 minutes to actually come back and cap that first point close to overtime. Then, you know, it goes the other foot. Rogue Dragons aren't on point. They have to push into the bunker. They get nothing done on point B. Then, again, another nano boost engage on point C. They're able to take control of the point, and then nothing for Paradise Tempest. It really is a very defensive comp from Paradise Tempest. They want to be able to set up, and as soon as Rogue Dragons were able to dislodge them, crickets. Nothing happened.
Yep. And all it took was maybe a little bit of a nano boost coming in onto a Winston or a pulse bomb coming out from a Tracer, and you just saw Paradise Tempest just absolutely get torn apart. But man, there have been so many huge nano grenades as well as nano boosts being built up left and right that have really helped Rogue Dragons just win these team fights.
Yeah, and I thought that was a problem, specifically Persona being on the brig, because it didn't really feel like he was able to get into position to do anything with such a defensive comp. It was hard for him to actually get value. That actually just gave so much ult charge to Solar when she's the only one doing the healing that she had a nano every fight and a half. Not even kidding. There is always a nano boost online for Rogue Dragons. Now, we are going to see the classic dive comp again. Both compositions pretty much the same, just on different footing. See if the more defensive positioning by being on defense gives Paradise Tempest a better chance.
Alex just getting a little bit too much as he just goes into all 6 members of Paradise Tempest. And I think it literally was just on that McCree stun that he just got completely melted. Now, this is going to slow things down for Rogue Dragons, but they're not out of it yet. You can see just how cohesively they're all playing together. Now they're on top of Womst. Womst is like, actually, I'm good out here, as he completely flies away. But with a pick on the Persona, that could be pretty good. Now, Karma is on this back cap, as it looks like, Paradise Tempest were able to sniff him out, and now they have fallen onto the point. One of the things about Paradise Tempest is they're not super mobile, so falling down could have caused a lot of grief for them.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to get back onto the high ground, and they're not even going to try. Still, not a lot going on for the side of Rogue Dragons, except for a very specific flex support we've been talking about all game long. Solar has the nano boost. Let's see if this will dislodge them again. But Womst Team X by 6s.
That's not a good start.
That seemed unforced.
Yes.
That's an unforced error, I believe. And you're going to have to wait for your diva to come back in. That's going to give some time for Paradise Tempest to build up some of these ultimates. You would have liked to just throw in the Nano Monkey without anything to contest you. It's going to be a little bit harder now, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might have just been a little bit of a mistake happening. Womps probably thought they were out of the way, you know, couldn't be found out, but unfortunately there was just too much damage coming in through. Now Womps taking this a little bit aggressively, but actually it's going to be Alex receiving the nano boost, but this time around they are just going to be completely overwhelmed as Raph just seals the deal. And Rogue Dragons have completely come swarmed and now taken out the rest of Paradise Tempest, as they should be looking nice and comfortable to roll this to point number 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's quite fast enough to actually get back. We even see Raph camping the doorway, trying to stop anyone. And I think Paradise Tempest will prefer to set up a good position than try and contest this early. That is what I'd expect, but they're coming out pretty strong.
Yeah, I wonder if Paradise Tempest thought that they could recontest it now, as we see a lot of ultimates being committed online, but it's going to be Karma opening it up with pick onto 6s. Lars using the Deadeye, able to take out Persona. Now Rig is going in, swinging onto Raph, especially with that rally, is going to be able to just put in so much damage, comboed with, of course, the lovely Supercharger, as Paradise Tempest now have stepped their foot down pretty firmly on top of the Red Dragons, stopping their momentum after point number 1.
Yeah, but they use everything to do it. Literally every single ultimate they'd built up, they used to just stop the point a little bit into point B, and now we're going to see it just turns around as Rogue Dragons. They now have the ultimate advantage. There's not too much to say about this one, because there's nothing from Paradise Tempest to stop them from rolling forward here.
All I can hear are the clicks coming out from Karma, just absolutely wrecking people, being able to just put in so much damage. We can see Paradise Tempest trying to stall this out for as long as they can, but it's all for naught as Rogue Dragons just roll right over them, not even losing a single member in that team fight.
Yeah, and this makes sense. Paradise Tempest want to use the ultimates they built up. That's why they took that aggressive first push. Before they swap to the composition they actually want to play on B, which is more of a Ashe-centric dive style. The 6 is still on the Torb instead of the Tracer like you'd expect. But Raph...
Raph uses the Jedi, able to take out Ira and Lars. Now is able to just plink in so much damage as Paradise Tempest are still trying to just plink themselves onto this point. We see a little bit of a spin around coming around from Culture, trying to just absorb as much damage as possible. But Rogue Dragons are looking extremely comfortable as they continue to walk that one forward. Lars finally shutting down Karma, but they have just over 3 minutes and 40 seconds to make this all the way.
Yeah, and this is looking a little bit rough for Paradise Tempest. You know, they swap onto a composition they want to play on point B, but it's too late. Rogue Dragons got too much space, and now they kind of upset their ult economy. And once again, Solar has this nano. Alex has the Primal Rage. The monkey will live forever, and there's really not much too contested on the other side.
At this point, I think we need to be seeing a little bit of a swap come through from them, but it's going to be Alex diving in now. Has the Primal Rage, has the Nano Boost, just able to put in so much work, finally taking down Brigbadon. Now Raph is in the back line, just plinking in damage as well as the Swinging Monkey is able to take out Lars. And look at how much damage he's able to do here. Torbjorn's going to plunk his head as he falls into the lake behind him, and Rogue Dragons are poised to win this map as we see the last minute stall compositions come online for Paradise Tempest. They just need to make it back and slow this down, allow their team members to come on, but the most important thing that they need right now is to be able to find any picks. We see the Reaper swap from Sixus as well, but the rally is going to make this extremely more difficult for them. Sixus trying to make work happen as Ira is also on this Moira. That allows for a lot quicker healing here, but it might not be enough because the members are just trickling down left and right, and with the self-destruct committed by Womps, everyone has to back off as they're not able to touch, and that's going to be Rogue Dragons winning out map number 2.
And Marks, it wasn't particularly close.
Nope.
I think that's safe to say. It really did seem like a Paradise Tempest who were unwilling to swap off a comp that, quite frankly, was not working for them. You know, it had its moments of brilliance, but truly the Orisa composition only really worked from a defensive position, and they weren't able to find a way to shut down Alex with the nano boost. And since you're so defensive, you don't have a Tracer, you don't have a Winston to pressure Solar. Solar was having the time of her life because I'm not sure she took any damage at all during the entire game because there's no one there to really challenge her or contest her. There's no dive targets to get into her face, so she was free to just build up these nano boosts. And, you know, if she got an opportunity, she'd land a big anti-nade, but largely it was just a nano onto Alex. And despite, you know, the Brig, the McCree, the Torb, these anti-dive targets, Paradise Tempest weren't able to put down enough damage to kill the Winston. Nope. The nano Winston demolished them every single time. And it's just, if you can't beat that, you're not gonna win the game. You're not gonna win the point. You're not going to win a fight if you can't beat a Nano Winston that is there all of the time.
Absolutely. I mean, when we saw Alex fly in there after receiving the nano boost and just using the Tesla gun, you know, already so much damage was coming out, and you're able to just get so much value with how Paradise Tempest was all grouped up, right? And then as soon as he was falling low, assuming that he didn't get flashed by a McCree, then he popped the Primal Rage and was pushing people around left and right. And what do you do if you're Paradise Tempest there? With the heroes that they were running, they didn't really have an answer for that. And that was very clear. I would have liked to see Sixus swap off of that Torbjorn onto another type of hero because we've seen Sixus do, honestly, absolutely clutch plays on many other different heroes. And I think that could have maybe switched the momentum for Paradise Tempest. But, you know, there wasn't a lot of value even got out of the Molten Core. It was a good idea because obviously, you know, you want to throw the Molten Core on the ground. So then when you do get quote unquote dived, then it's going to burn down your enemy. But it just wasn't getting that much value. Rogue Dragons were able to just maintain their space when they needed to and really shut down the turret immediately. There wasn't too much going on with that Torbjorn.
Yeah, time and time again, these anti-dive compositions from Paradise Tempest just couldn't work. They couldn't figure out how to keep the monkey off of their backline, off of all of them, honestly. And TDR Alex just had so much fun in that match. I can go ahead and tell you. We are going to cut to a quick break right now, but don't go anywhere. Both teams locked up at 1-1. And Mark, someone's going home tonight. We'll find out soon. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Paradise Tempest up against Rogue Dragons in the semifinals of Owlet Season 4. So this has been really good so far, really competitive, honestly, as now these teams are all tied up 1-1. This is going to be a tough one to predict on which team is going to be looking like they're going to win right now, honestly.
Yeah, it's been very back and forth. I think Paradise Tempest are breaking out a bit of a look we haven't seen from them before. I mean, they have played these Orisa-based comps before, but it was more the double shield, the Orisa Sigma. Now they're playing more of a bunker style with a McCree, a Brig, a Torbjorn, very close together, very anti-dive, but it doesn't really seem to be working against Rogue Dragons. The nano boosts, the anti-nades from Solar, have been so big, so instrumental in kind of getting Alex on the Winston into position. And then as Paradise Tempest are trying to blow him up, the rest of Rogue Dragons are able to move in and just clean up. So this look from Paradise Tempest hasn't really been looking that great so far. It hasn't been too hot. And I'm excited to see if Paradise Tempest are going to realize that and start to change things up, or if they're going to stick to their guns and try and make it work.
Yeah, right now, Paradise Tempest ready to upset the everybody's playoffs brackets, because Paradise Tempest just looked, I feel like everybody just assumes that Paradise Tempest is a top tier team, and they're right to do so. But right now, Rogue Dragons kind of the surprise in the bracket, and they're making this work right now. And now, both teams are ready to go, so we are going to be loading into map number 3, which is going to be on Kings Row. Rush Central, baby.
Yeah, I mean, we'd call this Paradise Tempest's map pick and it is, but everyone picks Kings Row, Marks. There's not a single team that does not. I guarantee you on the other side, Rogue Dragons would have picked this map as well. And we'll see what Paradise Tempest has ready for this, if they're going to stay potentially on this bunker-based composition, because these guys are not a rush team. They've said it themselves. They know that they don't like to play the brawl style. So it's going to be interesting, potentially, that if they continue to play this bunker composition, we might have a pretty quick series in favor of Rogue Dragons, honestly, because they really do seem to have Paradise Tempest's number unless they switch up something.
Yeah, if I was in the Paradise Tempest comms, I think I would be frantically looking for what I can do about a Nano Winston that just is getting a little bit too much value, because that was Google. Their undoing before. Oh, you activated my Google. Please don't do that. But what do you call it? They need to figure something out here, because with how that last map went, that same strategy honestly could work out for the Rogue Dragons on Kings Row as well. And if they still haven't found an answer to this Nano Winston dive composition, things are going to be extremely tough. But now we're going to be entering into Kings Row, as we are going to be starting out with the Rogue Dragons on our defense here.
Yeah, and kind of to your point, Overwatch is a very fast-paced game. You don't really have that time that you might have in, say, your Counter-Strikes, your Valorant, to regroup between rounds to be like, hey, this isn't working. Let's come up with something real quick and try this next round. You don't really have that time, because the next team fight's coming. This is a very fast-paced game. So maybe, between the break, you're able to actually come up with something. You're able to sit down, take a breath, and figure out what's not working. So potentially we will see something different from Paradise Tempest, but for the side of Rogue Dragons, it's just going to be the brawl.
Yeah, they love the brawl. Even after swapping their, they are playing with a ringer once again. Even after swapping their main tank. Previously, Rogue Dragons, they've looked really comfortable on the brawl composition. That is probably their composition that they were able to win a majority of their team fights with. And now, let's see what Paradise Tempest wants to bust out. Something a little unconventional, I hope, as we are going to be seeing Azukari on this Orisa.
Yeah, let's see if they stick on it. They actually are. It's going to be not quite the bunker comp they're playing before. It is more of a double bubble with this Symmetra to give them a much stronger positioning. And they're all going to go through it, and they're just going to pepper damage from the high ground.
Yeah, the scary thing about the bunker comp is when the bunker can move around at almost a blinks of an eye, especially too with that Symmetra able to just put them in such a great position here. But look at how Rogue Dragons have been forced back into that small room immediately as Paradise Tempest, they've only got one person on the point. Now they're playing their range here. They are able to take out Culture, but that seems like it was all going according to plan as they're able to plink in damage from afar. A lot of the team has to back off just because they are falling extremely low. Lars on this Echo, able to just pressure them back. They're all hiding in this backline here as now Paradise Tempest is going to be advancing. Sixes finding the pick onto Womps as the bunker is going to be setting up on point. Now this is going to be extremely difficult for the Rogue Dragons to push through as soon as they lose Karma. They are going to drop down their amplification matrix, but it's not going to be for nothing as the Dragon Strike is just going to help clean that up, and now they are looking very much in control as they take out Solar. That should be the last pick, which will allow them to capture point number 1.
Yeah, an opportunity there when you dive onto Culture there, or rush onto Culture rather, and manage to take him out. The Sigma doesn't really have defensive or movement abilities, so I like that decision. But I believe it was actually Womps who had taken too much damage. He was very low when the rush began, and it's hard to really heal them up, especially when you're going into that crossfire covered by the Orisa. Now, they want to push forward. They want to get as much positioning as they can on this double shield, but it doesn't look like TDR Alex wants to let them with a bit of an opportunistic charge. Still, the Rogue Dragons want to play this slow. They want to make sure everyone's together before they commit here.
And actually, we see the Rogue Dragons DPS line swap onto the Tracer as well as the Sombra to try and get a little bit of hack spell. It's going to be Lars with a duplicate first, already built up the self-destruct, dropping it into the back line. That's going to break Alex's shield, but right now, Paradise Tempest, they're just on the attack. They've got a Supercharger and an Amplification Matrix, which is just going to be amplifying their damage output like no tomorrow, as Sixes just goes for the style shot onto Persona. It'll take that Lucio down, and now this is, once again, Paradise Tempest just rolling their way through on King's Row.
Yeah, and there's so much damage in this comp, Mark. There's the Echo, there's the Hanzo. I could just name every hero here because there's so much damage going on. We see Paradise Tempest spy checking a little bit, making sure Raph's not there to be able to touch the point at the last minute. But 5 minutes on the clock as they roll forward. Rogue Dragons have gotten absolutely nothing done, and there are still ults coming online for Paradise Tempest. I want to see this Dragon Strike comboed with a Halt or Gravitic Flux, and Paradise Tempest will be clean to keep rolling on. Raph is nowhere close to that EMP.
We actually see now Alex swapping over to the Winston once again, maybe using what they're most comfortable on. We are going to be seeing an Amplification Matrix drop down here with the grab coming up into the Dragon Strike, but it's only just going to find Womps, who was desuited as he got dropped. Lifted up into the air, but this is Alex once again on this Winston, able to just do so much value comboed with Raph and Karma, able to just turn this thing around for Rogue Dragons. Now Paradise Tempest, they're looking a little bit slower here, but I'm looking at Rogue Dragons. They've got a lot of ultimates online as we get ready for the next fight. That's going to be the Diva Mob committed up into the air. It is going to find Lars, which is an instrumental first pick. Now we hear the Pulse Bomb's thrown out, but unfortunately it doesn't find anything. But look at how much distance that they've been able to get Spooky. They've almost had maybe 2 team fights in total, but Paradise Tempest have just been able to rock this one forwards. Now Azukari helping set up the bunker here, but might have just overextended just a little bit. Has to get a little bit of help from their team as Lars takes down Alex. Now the Trance and the Supercharger are going to be thrown down on this point as Paradise Tempest are just going to be rolling in here. The EMP is huge though as it finds 4 members of Paradise Tempest, and immediately the DPS is burned down. Now Azukari trying to do as much as he can here, but he's going to be going up against all of Rogue Dragons. Rogue Dragons able to just stop it 2 meters away from the final point.
And that's great presence of mind from Raph to not use that EMP till that opportune moment. There were a lot of times that looked like Paradise Tempest might have been able to run away with it, but Raph decided, you know, he wasn't going to use the EMP until he thought his team actually had a chance to win the fight. They were able to regroup a bit, and he lays down the EMP. But now, Paradise Tempest are pushing back in, and now they're getting counter dove, but Sixes gets an early pick. Sixes gets 2!
Sixes coming alive, taking out the DPS now for Rogue Dragons, and we saw how effective that was on Paradise Tempest when they were down a couple of DPS. Now Alex trying to run from his life, but unfortunately Sixes Tempest is just lighting it up right now. Now finds Persona, able to just bust down that cardboard shield that Brigitte has, and they're going to be just rolling forwards as they find Solar on this point, but unfortunately, he's going to be caught out by nobody. Now we have the duplicate also coming online. Lars on that Tracer. We've seen Lars do amazing things on this Tracer already, so let's see it again. But TDR Alex is going to come online and just try and stall this point out. Able to take out Sixus, but it's going to be Lars beaming him out of the air right now. Paradise Tempest need to keep this momentum falling. They can't lose any of their members, and they're able to do so as they're going to be capturing point number 3 with an absolutely fantastic time bank.
Yeah, 2 minutes 27 seconds is nothing to sneeze at, but still, credit is given where credit is due. That's the phrase. I don't know. Rogue Dragons are able to adapt fairly quickly, and that is something we like to see. You know, Karma and Raph really popping off on that point C there, and they saved themselves a couple of minutes where they might not have otherwise, because you know, Paradise Tempest came into that point C with 5 minutes on the clock, and kudos to Rogue Dragons for being able to turn it around just a little bit, give themselves more of a fighting chance as they come in to their own attack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much the case right now that whenever Alex swaps onto that Winston, they just looked so good. Comboed with Karma and Raph, it's just a good time all around if you're on Rogue Dragons. But now, Paradise Tempest busting out something incredibly unconventional. Spooky, there's a Roadhog on their team.
There's a Roadhog, there's Double Sniper, there's the Mercy Zen, and there's a Ball. This is a very dangerous composition, and it's a composition that I think should give the Rush a lot of trouble if that's what Rogue Dragons are going to break out on. It doesn't quite look like that, but it's pretty much a crossfire comp. Culture holds the point, while there's a threat on every single side, all of the high grounds. Azukari's looking for hooks. They have to pick a target and go on them quickly, because otherwise they're going to get chunked down from every single direction.
Oh, and Azukari opens it up with a big pick onto Raph. What a great hook.
Don't even get the
make this even happen. You're right. They didn't even get the teleport. Now, Azukari just whipping that hook around is going to be taken out now, as Rogue Dragons are going to be able to stabilize just for a little bit. But like you said, there's just so much pressure coming out from this top line, as Culture is just going to be rolling around on the back line. So they slow down the momentum a little bit, but the Rush is getting close to point.
Yeah, and you're putting a lot of faith in Lars to actually get picks here. The teleporter gives them an opportunity to get up on this high ground, but it looks like everyone's already spread out. They're not quite there. Alex gets the pin here, and that's a big early pick. Someone now has to touch point.
Yeah, and how Paradise Tempest set this up, they don't want to be touching point at all, but we're going to be seeing a Dragon Strike come through, which is going to add a lot more pressure here. The first stick is on the board. They still have 2 more that they will be able to give up. Six is barely escaping there before falling onto the point, but Paradise Tempest have kind of got themselves into a weird position, because no one can touch the point besides Culture without risking their life. Now, they have to pop the trance just to be able to stall things out for a little bit longer, but Karma's going to throw out the Blizzard to just make sure that nobody else can stay on this point, as that's Rogue Dragons capturing point number 1 almost as fast as Paradise Tempest did.
Yeah, Lars gets some picks right at the end there, but it's not going to matter. And it's an interesting composition that I think was set up for... Oh, look at him go. But the comp seems like it was set up for Rogue Dragons, Marks. They ran a similar Rush Sim composition against those beefers they beat to not too much success, but they did break it out. So potentially that's why Azukari didn't want to play the Orisa. He didn't want to bunker up just to have Rogue Dragons teleport into the bunker. So it does seem like an adaptation maybe on that end, but it doesn't quite work out for them. But speaking of adaptations, Marks, this is a new comp coming out from Paradise Tempest. The Ball Winston with the Doomfist Junkrat.
It's unconventional to say the least, but I think at this point, you're looking to just, you know, hope that Doomfist gets a couple of picks, and Six is probably looking to burn down that Reinhardt shield as quick as possible, as Ira going to be popping the Valkyrie, but the Sound Barrier is going to be coming out to match, as well as an Amplification Matrix. Now, here comes Lars, able to just punch into the front line, but it's taken out by Karma. This Rush composition is working out. Solar, though, is fallen down, so now there's a lot less healing on the side of Rogue Dragons, but they're going to be keeping this forward momentum going. Now, they've also got anti-knitted, but you know what? They're not really getting that many heals anyways, so I think they're quite all right with that one. Culture slamming on here, trying to get something done, but it actually is Sixes busting out the Riptire, able to take out Womps in that process. Now, Sixes, this Junkrat pick has been really working out, you know? You can't doubt these rat tactics right now because they are definitely paying due as Rogue Dragons have to back up just a little bit.
Yeah, and Sixes really has been having a fantastic game. Of the duo, we really don't see him talked about all that much, but he's really been putting on a bit of a show while Lars has been a little bit quiet. So Sixes definitely keeping Paradise Tempest in this as it's 5v5 on point.
And that's Culture with a great minefield completely surrounding Karma, and Karma just in the ice block. Like, you know what? I'm gonna just chill here, but not for too long because then I go boom. Raph, though, able to take out Ira from the air, so that's gonna be a great thing to start off this battle. Another Riptire already built up for Sixes, just kind of showing you how much damage Sixes has been doing. Those grenades are absolutely deadly, and you hate to see them, especially when they blow up in your big old face. But once again, Paradise Tempest able to stave back the Dragons just for another second.
Yeah, Six is a little scared there, has to back up. We do see Paradise Tempest kind of coming online with this composition, building up those ultimates, and Rig has the nano boost. So Azukari should be able to get into the backline and do some damage. But still, you're under the threat of being flashbanged, of being frozen up, and Persona's building up that heat as well. So any of these big ultimates could definitely just be shut down by that sound barrier.
Azukari got melted. Sorry, Azukari, you're going to have to go back to the moon on that one because that was not the right move. Now Lars using his Doomfist ult, going to be slamming down on top of Alex, but Alex is going to swing around, misses the charge. Now Lars trying to find something, able to pressure back Womps, hoping for the D-Mech right now. Unfortunately, is unable to find that final pick here. Still hunting for it, finally is able to achieve it, but at what cost, Lars, as Lars falls down as well. Azukari trying to keep this one alive, had the Primal Rage just to push people around, but it's actually Karma finding the pick onto Rig, which could just absolutely seal the nail in the coffin for this second point. But as soon as I say that, we're going to see Culture drop the mines on and just be bouncing off the walls like a pinball machine, taking Solar along for a ride. You're going to have to tilt that yourself out of that one because Paradise Tempest have now just stabilized.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know how they managed to get away with that. Everything seems to be going in the way of Rogue Dragons, so Culture just drops the mines, potentially catching Rogue Dragons out of position and just getting so much damage done, finishing up with a triple kill, rolling through them. And now there's only a minute left on the clock. These fights seem to go on so long, Marks, that really... these are like minute-long fights that neither team gets any advantage, and then somehow Paradise Tempest win. And if that's going to be another one, this could be the last fight of this map if Rogue Dragons aren't able to get something going with maybe this Blizzard.
Yeah, but they are coming up close to some of their ultimates, and you know, hopefully this Deadeye is going to be more than just a zoning Deadeye is what I meant to say. But it looks like it is just going to zone. Unfortunately, popped out a little bit too early because Iron just comes out. But now Paradise Tempest has engaged with a big pick onto Karma first. We're going to see the Blizzard come out in order to take out Sixes here. But now there's a nanoed Doomfist flying around on point with a Wrecking Ball to top things off. The self-destruct is going to be committed here, but Lars escapes using his ultimate, but he saw the chase. He takes out Persona. Now Lars flying around in the air, something like a Caped Crusader himself, just hopping across the map, punching people in the face, putting them in their place. Now Azukari popping his Primal Rage as well, as we're going to be seeing a big old Riptire fly in, and it takes out the, Immortality Field there, but that is a huge shatter coming in from Alex. He does lose his life for it, but he's able to put a couple of people on the ground. Unfortunately, the rest of the Dragons were not able to capitalize on it. We're going to see the sound barrier come out just to stall this out, give the tanks the chance to come back. But right now, Paradise Tempest are looking in charge of this point. There are only a couple of people left that they have to deal with, and as soon as they find those picks, they should be able to make this a win as Paradise Tempest take the series 2-1.
Yeah, and that's more of the Paradise Tempest we like to see, especially that double shield attack they broke out on. So quick, so fast, coordinated, what we're used to. The composition on Streets phase was a little unconventional, but it does seem like kind of this anti-rush style. You know, you've got the ball just booping everyone around. You have Azukari and the Winston ready to go in for some of these backline members, and then the Doomfist and the Junkrat are very much displacement heroes, you know, knocking people around, getting them out of your face, which is exactly where the Rush comp wants to be. So a little bit unconventional, but you can see the style that they're going for is that dislodge, keep them from attacking as a squad, And it did seem to work out for them, even though it looked a little bit shaky at some points.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to be that guy right now, Spooky. You know what won Paradise Tempest that map? The fact that they brought out a Wrecking Ball and a Winston. That's right. At the end there, they had the Wrecking Ball and the Winston, and that was the perfect amount of dislodge, especially too with Winston using the Tesla gun to just put in so much damage, and the Wrecking Ball booping people around, keeping everybody confused as a Doomfist is flying around. The confusion tactics worked, and it worked extremely well.
Yeah, it does manage to work out for them, especially in a situation like that. You know, you don't have the Brigida, you don't have that hard CC, you have kind of the soft control with the Mei, but when there's so many targets, it is a little bit difficult. And kudos to Paradise Tempest for being able to break out the ball Winston and making it work. You know, generally, I do think, you know, the defensive potential of the Diva is a little bit stronger, but when you have a composition that's so based around that disruptment, the dislodging, the ball Winston does work for that. And you can see with even the Junkrat and the Doomfist, where you're just trying to knock them around, get them out of position. It does seem like a solid pick. So I'm definitely eating my words there. Paradise Tempest, you made the ball Winston work. I had doubts and you have quelled them. Beautiful stuff on the side of Paradise Tempest. But on the same time, Marcus, you don't want to call their comp meta, you know?
Okay, all right. Try and save face as much as you can. But the fact of the matter is you described it as interesting, but you know what? It worked around this time. So we are going to be seeing these teams queue up for map number 4 now. If Paradise Tempest win map number 4, then they are going to be advancing to our final. So Rogue Dragons have to turn it around here, and they have to turn it up because otherwise they're going to be losing to more Ball Winston compositions that Spooky loves so much. But we are going to be seeing a little bit of a swap come in from Paradise Tempest, as Azukari is going to be taken off for just a short amount of time, as Magic Turtle is going to be subbing in here. As well, we've got our map number 4 decided. It looks like we are going to be going on Volskaya Industries with Paradise Tempest starting us out on that offense.
Yeah, and this is an interesting swap to me, Marks, because Azukari is their main tank. I think the only time we've seen Azukari out of the lineup is when Paradise Tempest got 3-0'd by Crusaders. Their only regular season loss. So this does worry me a little bit. Magic Turtle was their off-tank player during stage 1, so potentially this might be a very ball-heavy composition they want to play. Leave Culture on the ball and let Magic Turtle play potentially the Diva and the other off tanks. But it does worry me that Azukari's out of the lineup. I know this guy's a big shot caller for the team, and it's going to be a little bit rough potentially outside of this, but this has to be something they practiced. So I'm interested to see what Paradise Tempest have for us when they decide to swap out their main tank.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I'm curious though, if they do have that ball be their main tank, then I'm hoping we get a little bit more Sixus Tracer, because that is something that has been a little bit absent this time around. And I do recall Sixus absolutely popping off when playing Tracer, and that could be a good answer, or you know, at least a little bit of a nice competition to see that battle against Karma as well, because right now we've seen it throughout the series. Karma has looked absolutely fantastic on the Tracer. So, you know, that could be a really interesting matchup here, especially too if Culture is going to be playing that Wrecking Ball as the main tank, then hopefully we can see some of that happen.
Yeah, I'd love to say the Tracer duel. Actually, now that you're talking about Karma, Rogue Dragons were in a similar position to this against Los Beefers DB. It was 1-2. They just gotten stomped on King's Row. It was bad, but they got stomped on King's Row, and then they come back on Volskaya Industries, and it actually was Karma who carried that game for them and brought them into the map 5, which they then proceeded to win. So let's see if history is able to complete themselves, as I think we're ready to go into match here. So I can't wait, you know, especially against an Azukari-less lineup on Paradise Tempest. You know Paradise Tempest are coming up with something weird, and let's see if Rogue Dragons can, and Karma specifically, can come back out and bring us to that map 5.
Yeah, listen, I want to see it just as much as the next guy, but also to Alex, I want to see him playing more of that Winston, because it's been absolutely deadly and has been when Rogue Dragons have won team fights. So Let's see how this goes out here. Once again, we're going to be loading into Volskaya Industries as these two teams start to get ready. If Paradise Tempest win this, then they're going to be advancing, and Rogue Dragons are going to be out of playoffs. So, a lot on the line here for both these teams right now. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want anyone to forget that this is a semifinals playoff game, and we are going to see somebody going home. This is the map pick for Rogue Dragons. They've looked good at it, so we could come down to that final map 5 for truly all the marbles. But it certainly hasn't been a done deal yet. Rogue Dragons have looked strong so far. Let's see if they're able to bring it back on their map pick with a composition that I think has kind of favored them all map long. You keep Alex on the Winston, Karma on the Tracer, Solar on the Ana. These are all comfort picks for these guys. And Raph, you know, he's been really good on the Sombra as well. This does seem to be the composition where Rogue Dragons have had the most success. And it's up against a more a Reaper McCree coming out from Paradise Tempest. Not quite as much of the divey style, you know, with the Tracer, but instead you're trying to teleport into the backline alongside your Winston, do a lot more heavy pressure damage rather than the flank.
Yeah, and you know what? We said that they did need to find an answer to the Winston, and the Reaper is an excellent answer for it. But with Raph on the hacks, that could be absolutely deadly. You know, Reaper without that fade could be extremely squishy, as we see Lars get pressure down immediately. But Solar finding the pick onto Sixes is going to open up this fight as Rogue Dragons just move in on that anti-nade and are able to clean up the rest of Paradise Tempest. The Lars, last remaining member, chased off the high ground, and now Paradise Tempest has to reset.
Yeah, not much done on the side of Paradise Tempest there. They're still losing members, so that pick on the Solar isn't going to mean anything. She will be back before Paradise Tempest are back in position. And we're seeing some swaps come out. They're going back, or no, they swapped off, and Lars is over to the Reaper now, and Sixes on the turret. Once again, a very anti-dive style. Alex is going to have the worst day of his life. But they get Raph in the backline. Sixes, how do you get away with that?
That was not something I was expecting. We are going to be seeing Magic Turtle actually eat the Pulse Bomb, which is going to be absolutely huge here. Nano Grenade is going to take a lot of the healing away from Paradise Tempest, but now we are going to be seeing the Nano Winston on the point, as Alex is going to also be popped the Primal Rage right now, able to take Rig off the map completely, but it's going to be a battle of the Winstons here, as Alex actually looks away and is looking instead for the backline of Paradise Tempest. It looks like the tunnel vision might have been a little bit too much, but they are finally able to take out Alex. It's probably off the back of Lars on this Reaper, able to just pump in consistent damage to that, as Paradise Tempest now take point number 1.
Yeah, and you come into that in a 5v6. Like, that pick on the Raph was crucial. And even with that, it was a bit of a hard fight for Paradise Tempest to win. But still, Rogue Dragons, Raph now has that EMP. They also have the Rally, 2 of the strongest ultimates in this composition. So they should be able to hold on here, but there are a lot of ults coming online for Paradise Tempest as well.
Yeah, especially with the Rally, that could keep them alive for a really long time. And the rematch kill onto Karma. I couldn't tell if that was intentional or not, but we're going to be seeing dueling Rallies now come out from both of the Brigittes. Now Magic Turtle looking for a rematch kill once again. Unable to find it this time around, but it doesn't matter because Paradise Tempest are going to be taking the momentum forward. Womps out of mech, now looking for a remech as well. But Karma's also got this Pulse Bomb here. Karma doesn't get the stick there, but it's okay because they're able to take out Magic Turtle from that mech. Now Karma wrapping around is able to find Sixes. Falls so low, wants revenge, able to find it, as Culture is going to be slapping people in it, but it's going to be a Death Blossom comboed with the Molten Core on point that is going to allow Paradise Tempest to just seize this up. Now, Rogue Dragons, they have to come back and touch this, otherwise they're giving it away
Karma
for free!
Has 1 HP, Marks. Karma has no health. He goes back to get the health pack. No. You can't blame him, but he's not able to get back in time. And once again, he gets squished under the remake from Magic Turtle. That was 2 times that one of the DPS trying to go for the flanks on the side of Rogue Dragons gets picked off. I'm not entirely sure how that remake kill happened, the first one, but that's 2 fights that Paradise Tempest get a 5v6 to just walk in and do whatever they want to, Marks. Definitely not what you'd expect, but it really did seem like Rogue Dragons just opened the gates and let them in. Paradise Tempest Trojan horsed their way into these points just by a kill in the backline or a kill in their backline as the DPS flanks before the fight even starts. They did not have to work for these. They seemed gifted to them.
You know what's a good way to prevent little squishy heroes running in the middle of your team and slapping you around? Apparently just dropping a hunk of metal on top of them. That'll put them in their place, because that's exactly how they were able to open up that final team fight, taking out Karma right away.
Yeah, he just blinked into it seemed like. You know, trying to take down the baby diva, which is, you know, something you'd like to see, but just doesn't work out. And it's a painful punish as Paradise Tempest managed to cap both points with 4 minutes. Rogue Dragons have to come back. They have to cap with a similar time bank if they want a chance to keep going with this, to keep their Owlet dreams alive. They have to win here. Paradise Tempest look very good to get their potential rematch against Team Grauluwu, depending on the winner of that match as well.
And we can see that they're opting for, once again, their poke composition. Let's see if Rogue Dragons do have that answer with this dive, specifically looking at Alex and Karma. But a little bit of a ring around the rosy now. Alex immediately backing off because he falls extremely low, able to throw the bubble down just for a second. But Paradise Tempest, nice and bunkered up.
Yeah, they're quick to disengage, they're quick to rotate. This is kind of what we were seeing them do on Mecha Base. This composition isn't one that wants to fight the monkey head on like we saw in Gibraltar. It is a rotate comp that wants to just keep away instead of, you know, try and flashbang and kill the nano monkey, which did not work out for them last time.
No, and now we're seeing a brawl happen a little bit on point, actually only committing culture. Unfortunately, Alex doesn't get the jump all the way up, and that's going to lose a lot of the potential coming out of here. But he is able to find Lars, which is a great way to open up this fight. Now, coming up in there, gets stunned this time. Instead of whip-shotted away, able to push the Brig off the top of the map. Unfortunately, doesn't find that kill quite yet, but now it's going to be the Molten Core from Sixes, trying to keep Alex at bay. Alex falling down. Now, Paradise Tempest are going to be able to stabilize a little bit better without that main tank in the frontline pressure here. Meanwhile, Magic Turtle is still holding on to the point right now. Orisa really good at just kind of staying alive and staying in a single position. And that's going to be Paradise Tempest in a very scrappy fight coming out on top here.
Yeah, they managed to take it away. Culture actually switching over to the ball
without
just
a
to
tick.
get back in time. Not even a tick for Rogue Dragons, exactly. Magic Turtle able to drop in at that last minute to hold on to the point. But still, you lose a little bit of the double shield. We've been seeing them play this ball Orisa comp before, so it's not the worst thing in the world. They're used to this. But you would like to have the Sigma. The Rock is a good deterrent to keep TDR Alex out of your face. Still, Raph has this EMP and he's looking for it. There's no time to rotate when your enemy is invisible. So I'm expecting the EMP dive to come in soon. But they're taking a lot of damage. It's hard to set up for.
Yeah, you can see Raph desperately looking for a hack on an actual valuable target here. Okay, now he's going to be scouting things out, getting ready to use this EMP. You can see he's just hanging out here. Doesn't have a care in the world, as a lot of the members of the Paradise Tempest are just kind of walking around. They still don't see him. They detected him but didn't see him. They just lost Solar. That might have been the window of opportunity, and now Raph has to back off.
They don't care about the Sombra. They detect him over and over again, and they were just putting in damage. Raph is waiting for the call from his team. You know, he's waiting for the nano boost. He's waiting for them to be like, hey, we're in position. We can follow up on your EMP. It never comes. It never comes because there's so much damage. They're literally fighting a 5v6 because Raph isn't able to contribute. He's just hiding in the corner, waiting for this EMP, but he's running out of time. He has to use this.
Yeah, at that point, Raph was like a fan in the stands for his team.
Yeah, he's just watching. He's just cheering on. Go on, guys. Go Rogue Dragons. Finally, we see the EMP comes out. And Link hits 2! And he's dead!
No. But Womps might be able to turn this one around. We are going to be seeing a rally come out from Persona now, but I'm looking at Culture to use those mines to deny a lot of space, as well as the Molten Core. Oh no, Magic Turtle gets taught out of his supercharger. Now, the clock is running down. Rogue Dragons will be able to touch this for a second, but Paradise Tempest have to play this absolutely carefully, because if they lose some of their members, it's going to be a long, painful walk back from spawn. Rogue Dragons getting ready for their final assault here, as they have to touch this point. They got to get this point done.
They have to win or they're out.
And now we see the Nano get committed to Alex. This has done wonders before as Raph is able to take out Lars, but Six is finding Raph is not a way you want this to go. Solar, though, able to take out Rig. Now Ira has to do all of the healing himself, but it's going to be Alex once again with that Primal Rage, able to just put in so much damage onto Paradise Tempest, and they once again no longer have an answer for the Nano Winston, as Rogue Dragons should be able to take point number 1 just barely.
Rogue Dragons, with their life on the line, with no second chances, manage to cap the point, give themselves a second shot at life here. Their playoff dreams have not ended quite yet, and they're pushing their way forward. Swaps coming out from Paradise Tempest means there's not a lot of ults online. Rig's almost up to that rally. I'm looking at Raph. You gotta build another EMP quickly if you want to have a time bank to match Paradise Tempest here. He's in the backline, he's looking for it, but still, the Torb, the turret, everything is going to keep him away. Lars goes very low. Karma almost gets the pick there, but a big anti-nade on Culture lets them kind of force their way in here.
And now we're seeing why the Torbjorn is played, as the turret is putting just enough pressure onto Karma to keep him back, but Karma does have the Pulse Grenade as well. A lot of ultimates online right now for Rogue Dragons, so this could be a potential press queue to win a team fight situation here, as finally the whip shot is going to be coming through, able to dislocate Alex from jumping there, but Karma's going to stick Ira, which is an absolute massive pick, shutting down a lot of that extra health, but it's the Molten Core on the point, which is going to make the difference as it takes out Karma. Right now, it's just a Rigbadon on point, able to try and keep this alive for his team, but he's unable to do so. Finally, the rest of the team is going to be coming out, and the EMP is dropped, taking out both of the tanks as Bob comes out as well from Lars. Bob immediately put to sleep, but right now, Rogue Dragons are on this point. Paradise Tempest, they have to at least touch this. Right now, the name of the game is going to be stalling it out, trying to take that time bank as low as possible, as they will have respawners advantage, but unless they get picks, it's going to be for nothing. Culture popping the Primal Rage, trying to push people around, trying to find a pick somewhere, but unfortunately, there's just too much pressure from the Rogue Dragons. They've got a minute and 20 on the clock, just over, as Paradise Tempest just continues to trickle in, but the picks are coming through for the Dragons, as they will be able to turn this around as soon as they take out Lars. Wow, this is an amazing stall coming out from Paradise Tempest, but finally, the Dragons cap it. But look at the difference in their time banks, Spooky.
Yeah, every second that Paradise Tempest were able to take away from them is just, it's like watching Rogue Dragons' playoffs hopes dwindle. You know, if they are going to be the first ones attacking, and they have to come up with something, because if they don't cap a single tick, the best they can hope for is a draw, and they have to hold off Paradise Tempest for almost 4 minutes without a single tick, and that's just a draw. Then they'd still have to come back in a map 5 and a map 6 if they actually want to take this one 3-2. Any Paradise Tempest fans will be feeling very good about these time banks, because PT is on the verge of the grand finals here, Marks. Everything is in their favor. Rogue Dragons have to come up big. They have to come up huge.
But it isn't impossible. We've seen just how
Overwatch,
powerful.
baby.
This is Overwatch, and anything can happen if you want it to happen. We're going to be seeing a very similar defense come out from Paradise Tempest, but Rogue Dragons, they were able to bust this thing open towards the end there and just use that momentum, just roll things forward. So Rogue Dragons definitely not out of this yet, and they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to get something done here.
Yeah, but I am worried, you know. Rogue Dragons needed ultimates to break this before. They need the Primal Rage, they need the Nano Boost, they need the EMP. They do not have the time to build those up. So they are going to switch to a composition that goes a little bit faster. The Lucio, to let them rotate, to keep tabs on the bunker composition, to just try and force their way in and get an early fight win. Let's see if it works out for them, but you've got to be nervous. You can't let those nerves get the best of you. You just have to play the game you're used to. But look how far Paradise Tempest have rotated away from this composition.
And look at that, Karma going in there with a Reaper is going to be extremely good, but Wops is immediately demeched as the picks are coming through right now for Paradise Tempest. Right now, what looked like a very confident dive coming in from Rogue Dragons was just immediately shut down by the Paradise Tempest special. You can't bust that bunker.
Yeah, they have 25 seconds on the clock, Marks. They need to get something done, or the best they're going to be hoping for is a draw. They have to not only touch the point, they have to dislodge this bunker as well. A lot on the line, no ultimates ready to go, with just 8 seconds left. Raph is going to be the one to touch the point, but Persona dies!
He died immediately, and we're going to be seeing Alex commit inside, but unfortunately Lars is just too powerful on this Ashe, able to find in so much damage, and now this is going to be Paradise Tempest just absolutely slamming the door on Rogue Dragon's face on this defense, and now a very, very clear win condition to the grand finals has been established for Paradise Tempest.
Lars coming alive in the final moments, 4 picks. This guy's been a little bit quiet, you know, and quiet for Lars is not getting a 3K every single fight, to be clear. This guy is absolutely nuts. But he hasn't been turning up as much this game, but he's finally coming back into his own. Exactly what we expect from him. And now with 4 minutes on the clock, Paradise Tempest, this is all they need. They just need to get a single fight win, get a single tick, and they are going to the grand finals. They're going to once again throw Rogue Dragons down and take their rightful place in the grand finals, as was expected, as they were all but promised. Just one more hurdle to get over.
And, well, we see Rogue Dragons, they're going to be setting up for a rush composition. We've seen them bust this out on previous maps, but it hasn't been all that successful before. So I'm a little nervous here, Spooky. I'm a little nervous. I want to see Rogue Dragons stop Paradise Tempest, but I don't know if this is the composition to do so.
I am. It's really a do or die situation here, you know. It's against the poke compositions that Paradise Tempest have been running, but it's a little harder to run these poke comps on attack than it is on defense. So, but for all of stage 1, these rush comps were Rogue Dragon's bread and butter. They are truly going back to the comfort pick to try and take this one in the final moments of this game. Paradise Tempest just need an opening, and they have booked their ticket to the grand final. But first, they have to get through this brush comp.
We're going to be seeing a lot of pressure being thrown in here. Sixus once again sticking to the Torbjorn. Might not be able to get as much value this time without those flanking heroes. But Lars on that Reaper is going to be pretty anti-rush, if you ask me, as he's already on this point and he's starting to cap it up. Alex able to find Sixus. Okay, Rogue Dragons, they do make it back in time. I got a little worried for a second here, but now Paradise Tempest are collapsing on top of them. Culture is taken out by Solar here, as this is starting to look okay for the Rogue Dragons. Once again, off the back of Solar with that huge anti-nade. Now, Rogue Dragons look like they're on top of this as they shut down Paradise Tempest. Now, we see the swap. Sixus, he's back on that Junkrat, baby.
And you get through the hard part, Mark, so you get the ultimates up. Now, with good ult cycling, you know, Rogue Dragons would be able to keep on top of this. They'd be able to maybe get a big pick with the Shatter. There's no Ryan to block it. Maybe buy some time with the Ant Matrix. But Rig has this nano boost, and Culture is going to be so deadly with that, potentially giving Sixus and Lars an opportunity to come in and get some of these squishies. He goes in.
Oh! And they're getting so much value out of the Tesla gun. He is going to be frozen up there as all of these ultimates are just going to be dumped onto the point. Everybody is pressing Q to win, but Raph is going to be finding Rigmadon with Womps coming onto Culture as well. Now this is finally looking like the Rogue Dragons are able to stabilize. Once again, able to hold back Paradise Tempest as that time bank is looking a little bit more friendlier to hold them back.
Yeah, and they managed to keep the Blizzard as well. Persona going down at the end doesn't matter too much. He will be back quickly with the speed, but Karma now has the Blizzard, and they've made it halfway there. They've burnt some of this time off the clock to Paradise Tempest, but Sixus with this tire, this Rift tire, is going to be so deadly. Solar only has 1 Immortality field marks. It can only block 1 of these DPS ultimates coming out, and here comes the tire.
And that's going to be a big pick to open things up on Karma. Unfortunately, Lars is taken down by a self-destruct as well as a DMAC coming out here. But Alex falling extremely low because he got anti-needed. And now the tanks are coming in and they are sweeping up for Paradise Tempest. We've got a sleeping D.Va on the point, but Paradise Tempest want to advance to the finals here as Rogue Dragons only have their Lucio left on point as well as a baby D.Va. And Paradise Tempest are going to be moving on to the grand finals of Owlet Stage 2 Season 4.
Once again, Paradise Tempest throw down the Dragons. They are the Dragon Slayers. They move their way into the grand finals. They take down the competitor in their bracket. Rogue Dragons is out. What a run from them. Something nobody really expected coming into stage 2. Paradise Tempest, I'm sure, certainly didn't when they picked this team to be in their bracket. Nobody saw these guys coming into the top 4 here. A lot of people had Los Beefers debut here. So it's a good run coming out from Rogue Dragons, but unfortunately, it will end here as Paradise Tempest are the ones to run away with this one.
Spooky, I am exhausted. And I think that goes to show you just how intense these last couple of matches went. I want to say a huge shout out to Rogue Dragons, able to make this a very exciting semifinals up against Paradise Tempest. They really showed what they were made of, but Paradise Tempest just coming out that much stronger, and they are going to be our first winners going to the finals of Stage 2. Now, Spooky, we also have to pick an MVP here, and I'm very curious to hear who you think could be a contender for that.
Yeah, I think it's a tough pick. I think all of Paradise Tempest were playing at a pretty similar level. They were at the same they were kind of on the same wavelengths. No one really standing out because the team as a whole were doing a lot of work. But to pick a player of the match, I am going to give it to Culture on the Wrecking Ball. He did a great job of actually being able to disrupt Rogue Dragon's comfort picks, the comfort comps, time and time again, just knocking them around, breaking them up, and just doing a great job. Even taking over for Azukari, who I think is really an MVP caliber player.
Absolutely.
Just sticking in while Azukari's out really shows how much the team trusts him and how good he has been for them. So we are going to give the MVP to Culture. But please don't go anywhere. We are going to cut to a quick break as we bring in some members of Paradise Tempest to interview and see how they feel about going into the grand finals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And welcome back, everybody. This is the end of Paradise Tempest versus Rogue Dragons, with Paradise Tempest winning 3-1, meaning they will be advancing to the finals. We've got Culture, we've got Sixus joining us here in the caster's booth. And how are you guys feeling after winning that match?
Oh, we're feeling so good, man.
Yeah.
It's a semifinals win.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
be happy.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
And so I did want to say, like, you know, you guys are now going to be advancing to the finals, potentially going up against Team Growlulu or Otter Oxide. What's going to be your mental going into like this week and preparing for those finals?
You can go first.
Okay. I think we have to be confident.
Mhm.
We all know what happened last time, but that's in the past.
Absolutely.
I think we've got this. No matter which team it is, I think we have a good chance against TG and Otter Oxide. Yeah, that's just what I have to say.
Okay, nice. Sixes, did you have anything to add on top of that?
No, I think he said what I was gonna say.
Okay, perfect. You guys see, that's the teamwork right there. You guys are on the same page, even outside of the game. Spooky, do you have any questions?
I do. We saw a lot of different comps from you guys. You know, we still haven't seen you guys fully commit to the Reinhardt-based stuff. I know that it's not your favorite composition in the world, but we did see a couple different looks. You know, we saw some Ball Winston. We saw that Hog double sniper on King's Row. We saw these more bunker comps that aren't that classic double shield. Do you think you guys are these some things that you specifically broke out for Rogue Dragons, or is this just kind of how your team has evolved and what you think is good right now? And how are you feeling about all these comps, like changing it up all the time?
Well, we were trying like many different things because it felt like we kind of struggled against 6-man, so we wanted to see how we could adapt to how we could adapt to their comp that they kept playing.
Yeah, and it certainly worked out for you. A lot of adaptation, a lot of different things coming out. I do want to ask, you know, after that watch point Gibraltar, like nothing really seemed to work for you guys, just a nano monkey in your face all the time. And you did play a pretty close match against Rogue Dragons not too long ago. Were you ever nervous? Were you ever thinking, you know, oh, this is not a team we're ready for. This is not a team we're prepared for. Like, what was your thought process, you know, about halfway through the match where you just took a pretty bad loss on Gibraltar? Like, how do you come back from that, especially when you've got all those nerves going in a playoffs game?
So, I don't think what you said was correct. I don't think we were really that nervous. I think
Sure,
there was a nano monkey in our face, but obviously we adapted. We won the next 2 maps. I think that's something that we're very good at, and I think that really helped us win.
So no nerves in the playoffs match, or not many. You guys were cold as ice, comfortable.
It's not what I said. Maybe there were some nerves going in, but I think the first map win really helped us. But as a team, I don't think our mental really struggles from a lost map. We're doing everything we can. We don't team and fight on each other. We do what we can to win.
No, that's exactly what you want to see, and it really came out in those next 2 maps, for sure.
Yeah, and I did want to ask, you know, with Rogue Dragons, they did have a tank swap around before entering into playoffs. Was this something that you guys had taken a look at, or did you not expect them to be potentially going up to you in the semifinals here?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay.
Are you surprised to not face Los Beepers DB?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were expecting Los Beefers debut.
Okay, and so did the Rogue Dragons catch you guys off guard at all, or once again, like, you know, you felt pretty comfortable going into this match?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, fair enough. Spooky, did you have any more questions?
Yeah, no, I've got nothing else, but congratulations, you guys. Pass our congratulations on to the team. You guys have done such a great job all season. I'm definitely excited to see what you guys get to break out in the grand finals. So thank you so much for joining us. To everyone watching, thank you for watching tonight. We do have Paradise Tempest going into our grand finals, and we're going to figure out who they're playing against tomorrow at 8 p.m. EST. It's going to be Growlulu versus Otter Oxide to finally get those last 2 teams in Owlet who are going to be in our grand finals. So be sure to tune into that. That's all from us, but don't go anywhere after this. Please stick around. We actually have a Paradise Tempest hype video we were hoping to show before. We didn't quite get to it, but if you want to stick around and watch that one, there was a lot of work, a lot of heart put into it. So please stay and see exactly what some of these guys can do, get you hyped up for this TG or Otter Oxide final, and we'll finally get to see whichever two titans of Owlet go head-to-head to finally crown a champion. Don't go anywhere. We're done here, but there's a hype video coming up right next. Stick around.
I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right. And I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro. Let's go, let's go! Yeah. Let's go! If I go, I'ma get. When I flow, I'ma hit. And I know I'm the kid. I'm a soul, don't forget. I'ma blow up with it. Got my flow so vivid. Here we go, just beginning. Yeah, I throw every inning. Got my flow so legit. All I know is my Here I go, they can whip. Post Malone in this rock star making hits. Got guitar in this leaving scars cause we lit. All these bars that I spit. Yeah. Let's go, let's go! Let's go! If I know what I want, then I know what I get. If I go, they can win, cause they know I get lit. I'm a pro, not a myth, and my flow got some wit. Never slow, drink a fit. I get hype, I get lit. If I know what I want,